You will be misunderstood, and not in a poetic, tortured artist kind of way. I mean in the simple, horrifyingly accurate way. Everything you project, every attempt to be readable is filtered through other people's biologically programmed laziness, biases, and emotional hunger. Politeness reads as weakness, bluntness reads as cruelty, silence reads as arrogance, or worse, indifference. And when you realize this, you also realize that your attempts to clarify are futile. It's like screaming at a cloud, except the cloud remembers a different word for your face. And it's very often not a good word, usually pervert in my experience. See, our brains evolved to conserve energy. It's easier to assign a mental shorthand than to process all the nuance of someone's existence. Archetypes are cognitive shortcuts, the meek one, the funny douchebag, the cringe weeb. They help people make predictions about behavior without wasting precious neurons. And your neurons don't even think about it. You exist in someone else's brain as a compressed, lazy approximation like a badly pirated movie. They think they're watching The Godfather, but it's some Russian guy filming it on a camcorder, and halfway through it cuts to porn. Which in fairness is the best way to watch The Godfather. So much to learn about family values. Most people will only know your performance, not the messy backstage. Every compliment, every slight, every fleeting glance is a stenotype, a sloppy summarization of you, compressed for the audience's convenience. And if you respond with frustration or clarification, they'll interpret that as a new trait. You've added a note to the wrong account book. It's like if someone says you're a nice guy, but then you tell them to shut the fuck up. Now you're the unstable nice guy. But to be honest, that's the only kind of nice guys I've met so far. This isn't annoying, it's existentially violent. It's a heavy, persistent theft of your reality. You edit yourself to survive it, trimming sentences before they're even said, deleting jokes that might offend someone, avoiding truths that might unsettle. Like swallowing extra rare chicken at a family dinner while thinking about stabbing your cousin in the neck with a nearest fork. You are performing in a play with no script, no rehearsal, and no audience that truly understands the play, and yet everyone applauds the parts that conform and boos the parts that don't. Like when you try improv or tell your uncle you know about his second family. Even when you try to be transparent, even when you spill the contents of your mind like a bad cocktail, people hear what they expect, not what exists. Their ears are filters, their eyes are censorship boards, their memories are drunk editors. The more earnest you are, the more violently they misinterpret. Every person carries a version of you in their head, abridged and edited to save time and disk space, and usually wrong. They remember the wrong jokes, the wrong insults, the wrong victories and losses. The guy who laughed at your terrible joke in 2017, he probably thinks that you're a clever wit, which is a lie. The girl who said you were cute, well, she's never seen you cry, yell, or pee yourself after drinking a bit too much green tea at a music festival with an hour-long lineup for the toilet. Your body, your work, your soul, your messy internal life, they all leak into the narratives like an oil spill. No one sails your ship as it actually is. They row with one oar, sideways in the dark, bumping into other people's ships, muttering about how shit the navigation is. And you are the cargo, the mast, the bilge water all at once, invisible to the crew that thinks they're all captains. People also tend to simplify you into archetypes because the human mind cannot handle the complexity of a full person. You become a collection of bullet points, a character sketch, a rumor lightly spiced with charisma or faint traces of past mistakes. And if you try to correct them, they adjust the sketch like a Photoshop layer. Oh, so you're blunt? Fine, we'll add that trait but ignore everything else. And then there's confirmation bias. Once they label you, they interpret all subsequent behavior to fit it. You are permanently misclassified. Meanwhile, you exist in this feedback loop of misinterpretation. You interact, they misinterpret. You adjust, they misinterpret again. It's a cycle, a slow erosion of truth. And the more you try to assert this as me, the more the narrative solidifies in someone else's head. You have become the passive protagonist in the story of your own misperception. And buddy, I'm sorry to break the news, but you're no better. Your own mind is a traitor. Cognitive psychology calls it reconstructive memory. You remember the story you want to remember, not the one that actually happened. Memory is a heavily concussed accountant who misplaces numbers, inflates small wins, and hides the things that make you ugly in the shadowy corners. You reconstruct yourself from fragments, and the reconstruction is always convenient, always biased. You remember being clever in an argument, but the embarrassment that made everybody else cringe, gone. You recall your generosity, but your viciousness, that too has been edited out, or worse, rationalized. Even your truthful self is a narrative stitched from selective perception. Every moment you live is filtered through a lens that favors coherence, pattern, and ego. You are perpetually in the process of writing a memoir that no one will read, not even yourself. And in the rare moments that you do attempt honesty, your brain quietly sabotages it with euphemisms, omissions, or outright rewrites. The thing about this is that you can never trust your understanding of yourself. You are the unreliable narrator in your own life, and everyone else is misreading you as an unreliable narrator too. They just don't care to make it look pretty. You are trapped in a hall of mirrors where every reflection is both a lie and partially not a lie. And yes, this makes you want to scream, but screaming also doesn't change anything. Perceiving knowing your true self is biologically impossible. Your prefrontal cortex can't track all the variables at once. Your hippocampus is selective. Your amygdala distorts emotional weighting. Every reflection you see, every thought you preserve is filtered, biased, and unreliable. You are a patchwork of selective neurons, and memory edits are just a survival hack to maintain coherence in a chaotic brain. Recognition is an asshole illusion. When someone claims to get you, they're not recognizing you. They're recognizing the version they constructed from their expectations and memories. Why? Neuroscience. Humans evolved to detect threats and opportunities quickly. Categorizing people reduces cognitive load. And social heuristics. Group membership, dominance, trustworthiness, morality, all these things work fine for hunting in packs, but they destroy nuance. They love you wrong, they hate you wrong, they pity you wrong, and they will never see the whole messy, contradictory, filthy, occasionally brilliant being that you actually are. Even more brutal, the more visible you become, the more susceptible you are to this misinterpretation. Achieve something remarkable, they will remember your mistakes along the way more vividly than your success. Fail miserably, that becomes your defining trait. Everything is skewed by attention, context, and the bias of the observer, and you can't do anything about it. You can clarify, explain, apologize, justify, but it'll only add layers to the narrative, further distorting the truth. This is how people internalize others as stories rather than humans. You exist in their heads as a symbol, a character, a collection of traits that may or may not have ever been present. And the scary part, you also do this to others. You reduce people to archetypes, to impressions, to shorthand. The whole world is a series of partial, misremembered, oversimplified, and absurdly filtered versions of everyone else. So it's only fair to receive the same treatment, no? Love is one of the most refined forms of misperception. You latch onto someone and both of you become a composite of expectations and projections. You love the version they present to you, they love the version you present to them. And if either of you cracks, the whole illusion collapses. Even the intimacy you feel is filtered, negotiated, curated. Every confession, every gesture, every I love you only partially overlaps with the truth, if at all. Friendship is similar. People want rehearsal spaces where their self can feel legitimate, not spaces where true selves collide and bleed. We get each other, they say, which is translation for I can be accepted here without exposing the parts of me that are embarrassing or ugly or human, in ways that make others uncomfortable. And even in these supposedly safe spaces, cracks are obvious to anyone paying attention, but they're edited out of casual perception because empathy is very expensive. Biological and psychological efficiency. We're all performers casting shadows, faking competence, masking shame, subtly sabotaging each other to maintain the illusion of understanding. And yet, here lies the understated miracle. Because no one can ever see you fully, you are free. Free to act badly, fall on your ass, be cruel, kind, horny, disgusting, brilliant, stupid, all at once. The misperception, the approximations, the repeated distortions of who you are, it acts as a cloak, a buffer, a shield. You can love badly, fuck badly, crack the wrong joke at the wrong time, get drunk alone, puke on your own moral standards, and the world will not collapse. Your mistakes, your grotesqueries, your humiliations are safely hidden in the filter of perception. You are a ghost in everyone else's narrative. They think they understand you, but they don't. And that is sadly the best gift you will ever receive from the universe. You will be approximated, compressed, misremembered, misrepresented, and maybe that is exactly how it should be. You exist in fragments and echoes and half-true stories whispered by people who are never going to fully grasp the depth of you. You are never fully seen, and yet you are fully alive. Walk through the world unseen, leave traces they think they understand, laugh at the grotesque comedy of misperception, revel in your contradictions, embrace your filth, your failures, your bizarre little joys. Recognize that the only version of you that truly matters is the one still breathing, still thinking, still capable of fucking up spectacularly and beautifully in ways no one else can witness. And maybe in that biological, neurological, dirty miracle, you finally find peace.